All right, so today we're going to look at how we can prompt a large language model inside the terminal, so that we'll avoid us having to open up, the web browser to go on ChatGPT or Claude to prompt the model. We can simply prompt it directly into the terminal. Um, the functionality will be a lot less powerful than if you go on, Claude, for example, but it's faster. So if you have like a quick question, you can simply prompt it like this. Let's say you want to know how to spell a word. You can say you have this command, G for GROQ, because I'm using the GROQ API, and simply ask your question. How do you spell, I don't know, horse? And then you get the answer. And now you see that the output is very fast because I'm using the GROQ API, but you can pretty much plug in anything you want, the OpenAI API, the Claude API, even a local server, but it's a bit more complicated. So to start, to give you a little context, I'm using WSL inside of Windows, and since I do most of my programming inside of WSL, I set this up inside the Linux file system. If you go on the root of your WSL system, you'll have a bunch of folders here, and the one that you want to look at is .local. And inside .local, you have some binaries, and inside those binaries, I created a folder, which is kind of a project, which contains the scripts that will allow us to prompt the model inside the terminal. And then we'll simply link an alias or a command to that script to run it every time we send the whatever the command we want to set up, right? So if we go on here, if we take a look at the files in here, we have a few things. So this is pretty much a very basic Python project. We have a virtual environment which contains the packages you need to run this, and then you have the requirement file, which pretty much only contains the GROQ package, term callers for, callers in the terminal, and .env. So as you can see, I have two Python scripts here. I have one which is CLI LLM chat and one which is a loop. The loop is simply a chat that stays in a loop, so I can have a conversation and the model will maintain a memory of the conversation until I exit it. So for example, I say, I don't know, write a Python function, and then I can ask him, what does your function do to make sure that it actually has memory? And it simply explains what it just did, so you can see that it has memory. But if you, and this is for the CLI LLM chat loop.py script that I wrote, and I wrote a second script which will only take one query if you want to ask a quick question, and it goes back to the command line after, so there's no memory involved. It's just one query. So if you have like a quick question that you want to ask the model, you can simply ask the question and then move on. So both are useful depending on what you're trying to do. I usually use the G command more because it's, if I want to have a conversation and it's like I want to solve a problem and the problem is a bit complex, I'll just go on the Claude or OpenAI website because they have better features, right? So if we take a look at the script, so we have here something very simple. Here is the shebang, I think, that simply points to the environment that we're using for this script. So here we simply import the environment variable, which is currently only the GROQ API, which is free, by the way. That's why I'm using it. So here we have a function which is get model response, which simply prompts starts the client and prompts the client with your prompt. And you can define a system prompt here. that I defined in my environment variables, which can be, any kind of general behavior that you want your model to have when it communicates with you. And then here you have the prompt itself, which is given into the function as an argument, and that's essentially the argument that you put into to the right of your command. And so here you have the response, it flushes, and it's returned and printed out into the terminal right here. And that's pretty much it. It's a very simple script, and you can do more to this. You can add more to this, but for now, this is what I have. And if we go ahead and look at the other script, we can do simply this. This one is a bit more complicated, but still pretty simple. Again, the imports are the same system prompt, the prompt given as an argument. Here I used, like in the last script, I used the same model, the Llama 370B, because it's the most powerful model that we have available with the GROQ API. And it's still extremely fast. It's like over 800 tokens per second, sometimes even like over 1,000. And then here you simply have the main function, which allows you to enter a while loop, which will only exit if you type the word exit. So if the user input is exit, it'll exit and break the loop, and then the script will end. If not, it will take your request, well, not your request, your input, and use it as the prompt that will be sent to the model. And once you call the model, it also attaches the message history, which is appended after each response given by the model. And so that's why you can have memory within the loop, and it feels like a real conversation, right? The only thing now that you would need is to map some sort of command to run the script. And for that, you'd have to make this script executable. And you can do this with this command. And then you go in and put the path of the script that you want to make executable. I've already done that, so I'm not going to do it again. And once you've done that, you can go into your configuration file for your terminal. I'm using Z shell, so I'm going to go inside of here, and I'm going to just search for the function, which is right here. This is a function I created inside the configuration file for my Z shell terminal. And here it's a simple function which calls the script once you put in the command, which for me, I just put G, but you can put anything, you can put any word that you want. And once you put that into the terminal and you enter, it calls this script, which is the script that I just showed you, with one argument. So this will be essentially the argument or the question, the query that you put to the right of your command, and that will be the prompt used to send to the model. And this is a second command that I created, which takes no arguments, and is called by just typing GL, and this starts the chat loop or the conversation, and doesn't take any argument because it's a conversation. You send your first prompt once the conversation has been initialized, and this one simply calls the other script that we looked at. So this is pretty much it. Once you do that, you simply source your terminal. For me, I have to use this, and then I can go ahead and ask another question. How were cars invented, for example? And then he gives me an answer. I can also do GL to enter a conversation and say, write me a sad story. There you go. and then you can have a conversation. And again, since I'm using the GROQ API, the responses are very fast, which is very pleasant. I think they'll probably start charging you eventually, but for now it's free, so why not use it, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching.